The chapter begins with the fact that Han Sol, a 17-year-old powerlifter, is trying to lift 10 tons. If he does it, it will be a world record. With incredible efforts, he was able to lift such a huge weight, and literally immediately after that, a blood clot broke and he fell unconscious. The protagonist begins to talk to himself that he forgot to drink protein and buy chicken breast. At the same time, he is given various skills, waking up surrounded by chickens. Khan does not understand where he is and was very surprised. After thinking about it, he decided that he got into hell with giant chickens because he ate too much chicken. And literally immediately after that, his special vision is activated, thanks to which he can see how much protein is in the animal and of course eats them. After eating enough, he notices that he has become much thinner than he was. He started to panic a lot. He didn't care where he was, he just didn't understand why the trace of his labors disappeared. Gathering his courage, Han Sol pulls out a tree and begins to squat with it. And he trained with this tree for 3 months. After he is attacked by a huge cockatrice, he tries in every way to get away from him while admiring his pectoral muscles. After Khan received a description of the usefulness of this giant's meat, he realized that he had to eat it. Therefore, he attacked and activated the skill during the attack, and his hand transformed into a giant hand and he destroyed a giant rooster with one blow. After that, in the evening, enjoying the meat, 3 ghouls came up to him, who told him that now that the monster is dead, a war for territory between different types of monsters has begun. They asked him for help, but he explained to them that he had to pump up his muscles, so he would not be able to help. In return, he offered them to take a chicken, but they know how to lift a lot of weight. Remembering the words of the coach, Han Sol decided to help the ghouls. In the morning, they went to the ghoul message and there he met the ghoul lord. It turns out that the Lord wanted the victorious rooster to help the ghouls, but Han Sol knows nothing about the skills, so the Lord thought he was deceived. He called 3 ghouls and wanted to kill them with a club, but the protagonist stopped the club. The Lord showed him his skill. He can increase the weight of an item by 2 or even 10 times. But Han Sol easily copes with this too. He grabs him by the throat and explains to him the basic exercises, and so the competition begins. It all starts with deadlift, and Lord Ghoul was able to lift 200 kilograms with the help of the skill. After Han Sol, when he lifted 200 kilograms, the Lord increased the weight 4 times, but the protagonist's strength is so great that he just threw the barbell up. And after that, Han Sol immediately became the new Lord. After that, the former Lord told that this is another world, and that there is a legend that says that once in this world, he will be able to return to his native world one day. But he did not want to return weak, so he temporarily decided to stay. After that, Han Sol decided to gather all the ghouls together and announced that in 3 months he would make real fighters out of ghouls and personally train them. After 3 hours of push-ups, all the ghouls were incredibly tired and even wanted to leave. But Han Sol said an incredibly beautiful speech and the ghouls continued their training. 3 months later, the ghoul village was attacked by lizard people and the ghouls threw huge stones at them and at the same time demonstrated their new forms. After one of the lizards challenged the ghoul lord to a duel, then a memory appeared. Previously, Khan Soli had a pet, a huge alligator, which sometimes tried to eat the owner, but could not do it because of the huge muscles. Therefore, he wanted to grab this lizard and point out to him that he is stronger than him. At this time, not far from the ghoul settlement in the Kingdom of People, the Count orders to find out what happened to Cockatrice. He sends 3 talents who have unique skills. In fact, 2 of them are very strong, and the third one has just been friends with them since childhood, so he goes everywhere with them. And at the same time they were attacked by goblins and hobgoblins, but they easily deal with them. And only the third friend stands aside, because he is weak and friends are trying to protect him. After that, they started a little fight, because he could have been injured, but the friend is not worried. He just does not understand why he is so weak if he trained as much as they did. And at the same time, Han Sol and Gilly started training lizards and it all started with push-ups. After some time, the lizards left, and Han Sol began to argue that the progress of the ghouls began to decrease. But then he found out that ghouls began to evolve and now they practically don't need rest. After that, they all went hunting together. At the same time, a weak friend is trying to train to become stronger and his friends have stopped worrying about him. But then 2 friends of the blog appeared. They started arguing with each other and then they said it was time to go to bed. As a friend, hundreds of lizards appear who ran away from chickens, and they in turn ran away from ghouls and Khan Soli. After that, we are shown memories where Han Sol and ghouls are preparing for an attack, and they don't know if they can destroy these giant chickens. But one ghoul decided to repeat what the chickens did, namely to break 2 trees at once, and it didn't work out for him. After Han Sol began to reflect and realized that the ghouls were already used to his training and therefore created new ones. And the ghouls successfully pumped their breasts even harder. But the chickens did not stand still and also swayed and became stronger, so during the fight the chickens won. At the same time, we are shown how the former lord was left alone in the camp and began to rejoice very much. after which he decided to cook himself a delicious lunch. After Han Sol decided to support the ghouls and explained that not only the upper part of the body should work, but also the lower one at the same time. Having understood everything, the ghouls decided to attack a second time, but they were defeated again because by that time they were already very tired. After the chicken attacked Khan, but he easily coped with them and they were already cooked in soup. The next day, the ghouls, having already recovered, are going to go hunting. Han Sol decided to train a little and then join them. Ghouls start talking to each other. Now they can overcome the chickens, but if they evolve like that again, it will be very dangerous. After the ghouls decided to disperse into 3 groups in order to catch as many chickens as possible, and if someone is in danger, they will signal for help with their pectoral muscles. After we show people, they found huge bones of a rooster while the head was separate. They thought it was done by a magician with strong magic, such as the Archmage Adam. After that, they encounter ghouls and chickens and both groups do not want to start a fight. The ghouls decided to call the rest of the group with the help of muscle sound, and because of this, the chickens evolved and became stronger. But fortunately the rest of the groups arrived in time, and together with the help of the secret Han Soli technique, namely that one uses the full strength of the muscles, and the others ensure it, they were able to overcome the chickens. But one chicken slipped through and while the ghoul was distracted, he was almost killed. Fortunately the swordsman saved him. But an even bigger cockerel came, more like a dragon. And then they tell us a legend. A dragon would have lived a long time ago, and this ancient dragon was hungry for glory. He was afraid that later dragons would surpass him, so he decided to take extreme measures. And this choice was in the division of power. That's how the current dragons and Cicatrix were born. The swordsman still decided to attack him, and at this time they show us Han Sol, who is training. He is not happy that his muscles have stopped growing, but he is glad that he has a team. After that, one of the ghouls comes running, who said that the ghouls were attacked and they could die. Because of this, the protagonist got very angry and activated skills, and with one leap he took off into the sky. At this time, the swordsmen are fighting with the rooster. They are trying to distract him and hit the pain points, but it didn't help and the chickens broke through and almost killed the swordsman. But the ghouls are building a living wall and withstand the onslaught of the chickens. But not for long, and the chickens already want to finish off the ghouls and people, but the old lord arrives and falls on one chicken and crushes it. And Han Sol flew to the wrong place. The old lord appeared beautifully, but only to prolong the time until the new lord came, and the chickens realized that the old lord was weak and wanted to kill him. After we are shown what happened 6 hours before. The old lord got tired of waiting for ghouls and food, so he wanted to hunt, but it turned out how it turned out. After that, the former lord thought that he could fight with the roosters, but he was thrown incredibly far away with one blow. After gathering their courage, the swordsmen and ghouls decided to fight for the last time against the roosters, and even though they knew they would die, they decided to fight anyway. After we are shown how Han Sol found the former lord and he is in terrible wounds asking him to save his friends. And then he was incredibly overwhelmed with emotions. Han Sol began to make sounds with his chest and called the birds to him. After that, we are shown how ghouls and people run to the call of the chest, and along the way they tell them who Han Sol is. At the same time, Khan literally destroys huge dragon chickens and easily deals with them. Well, with his final attack, he simply increased in size and scattered everyone around and finished off everyone with blows with a tree. And even ghouls with people have already come from what they saw, they were shocked. How strong was the difference in strength? And after that, when Khan's muscles had already begun to collapse, his friends supported him and made insurance so that he could use the maximum of his strength and not damage the muscles. After the victory, everyone thought that the former lord died the death of heroes, but it turned out that he was just sleeping, and of course everyone was happy. After 3 swordsmen reported to the count that one person had defeated a group of Cicatrix, people are very careful with Han Sol because it can pose a threat. It also turned out that the blog decided to go along with the ghoul, but the swordsmen thought that Han Sol and the ghouls had taken him by force and asked their mentor to help them rescue him from captivity. The count wanted to leave the blog, but the mentor also loved him, so she wanted to save him. At the same time, we are shown how Han Sol started training the blog and started with the basics. That is, with squats, and immediately he gave him an incredibly heavy barbell and the blog coped with it. At the same time, the protagonist understood everything. He was not mistaken, and the blog can become incredibly strong. And that's what he told the blog, and that's why he started crying. After that, Han Sol suggested starting to grow chickens so as not to destroy them all. After that, training began, lunges with a lot of weight, and the blog did squats with a barbell. And then people come. And the mentor used some incredible blow after she tried to kill the former lord, but he was saved by Han Sol. The swordsman told him to come back, but he explained to them that he liked to train with Han Sol, and she tried to attack them, but Han Sol blocked the attack with his body again. And after she said that the training was useless, which made Han Sol very angry and activated the skill. After the fight, she said that Han Sol is not a local, since people usually have white mana, and he has it red like demons and people can't change their bodies and fight at the expense of mana and technology. To which Han Sol replied that because of training, the body changes, and she used the technique because of the bark. Han Sol even fell, and then used maximum posing and got very angry and increased in size. At this time, friends of the blog decided to talk to him and apologize to him, and after that they even wanted to stay with him and train together. At this time, the fight continued at full speed, and after she noticed her students without clothes during training, she decided to let them train. That's how training unites. After that, when Han Sol saw people off, he talked to the mentor and was surprised by her pumped up legs, and she found out from him why he helps everyone. He explained this by saying that he wants a culture of training to flourish and gyms to be everywhere. Already in the evening, during dinner, the blog said that people in the capital can be racists and may mock ghouls and those who are not swordsmen, and this theory was confirmed by people sitting next to him. The former lord, in turn, decided to share delicious advice with people and they were delighted. After Han Sol asked Rion for horse food, because these are the best carbohydrates of all, and therefore everyone in the circle began to eat this grain product. After arriving in the county, everyone looked at them and the ghouls decided to pose so that everyone could see their beautiful bodies. After talking with the count, Han Sol went to train the soldiers and ordered them to do push-ups, but they refuse because they do not want to obey the monsters. Then the former lord offers them a one-on-one duel and the people agree. It turns out an ordinary ghoul against an elite mercenary. He ran at him with a sword, but the ghoul defeated him with one blow. After that, when the ghoul turned away, the man used magic and almost killed him, but fortunately Han Sol managed to, who just threw the man into the wall. After that, the count personally came, who was not happy with all this and suspended Rion for 2 years. Well, at this time the monsters will train human fighters for 3 months. Already at night we see a fighter who goes home. He wants to earn more money so that he can then go home to his daughter. And immediately they show us that very village completely on fire. And there are people and some kind of monster standing nearby. They did it all. And one of these mysterious killers asks the princess to dance with him against the backdrop of a burning city.